This is the road that leads to Bhandari Dham, where Anand became an Arhat. This is the road that leads to Bhandari Dham, where Anand, after being rejected in the first convocation, came down and lay. Folks, this is an evening photo of Bhandari Dham, and where I am standing on the stupa where Anand lay, which marks the spot where Anand lay after he was rejected from the first convocation, and this is the spot where he got full knowledge and became an Arhat, and he went back to the first convocation and took part in it from here. How I came to this conclusion, how I identified this place as the place where Anand lay down and became an Arhat. To understand it, you'll have to view the entire view. Southwest of that cave where the first convocation took place, Kalsila, southwest of Kalsila, is the place where Anand, after he was rejected, he complained to Kashyapa that I was with the Buddha everywhere, I heard everything, I have got full knowledge of what the Buddha said, but he is sent off. Because that was the rule, all the elders were retained, the young ones were sent off. And there was a rift between Anand and Kashyapa. So basically, Anand goes and he lies down and he gets the knowledge of an Arhat. And he comes back and he goes for an interview to Kashyapa. And he passes the interview. So the spot where he lies down, there is a stupa. The spot where he lies down and he gets the knowledge of an Arhat, there is a stupa. Folks, that stupa is called Bhandari Dham. Bhandari Dham, Dham means a spot, pilgrimage spot. Now Bhandari, who is Bhandari? Bhandari means a person who is in charge of all the larder, the food, the supplies. Anand was in charge of that. And Bhandar means warehouse. He was a warehouse full of knowledge of the Buddha's teachings. That was Bhandari, folks. So that is the place where Anand lay down. Today they have made his name into a Shiv temple. They say Bhandari is another name of Shiva. That is how they wiped out Buddhism. Folks, check out what Zhang has to say, and then you can see the place in satellite pictures, and then you can see the pictures yourself. Now let's see where Zhang takes us. After the first convocation, let's see where Zhang takes us. Northwest of the place where the great Kashyapa held the convocation is a stupa. This is where Anand, being forbidden by the priests to take part in the assembly because he was young, came and sat down in silence and reached the fruit of an Arhat. After this he joined the assembly. See, after northwest of the first convocation, he went and sat down and he lay down, and then he got realization and became an Arhat, and then he came and he challenged Kashyapa, and Kashyapa asked him some questions. He managed to he answered them most probably, and he was allowed back in. Now where is this? See, this is Kalsila, where the cave where the first convocation took place, and northwest is Bhandari Dham. Now, see, the Buddhists must realize you must study Indian culture first before you decide the spots. Bhandari is Anand's name. You do not take people of the stature of Anand, the Buddha, or any of his disciples, even Angulimal, you do not take them by their name. They are your elders. They are your superiors. So who was Anand? See, Anand was in charge of all the food, fooding, etc. That is what Bhandari means. The person in charge of the larder, the person in charge of the food. And Anand's mind, brain, was a warehouse full of the Buddha's teachings. Anand's brains was a warehouse full of the Buddha's teachings. Bhandari means a warehouse full of something. Bhandari means a warehouse full of something. So Anand was in charge of the sanghas food and the Buddha's food, etc., etc. That is what Bhandari means. And Anand was a warehouse full of the teachings of the Buddha. So that is also what Bhandari means. Bhandari. So basically this is Anand. This is the spot where Anand, see, that is Kalsila, where the thing took place, first convocation, and northwest of that is Bhandari Dham, where Anand got realization, when he lay down. Sadly for Buddhists, the Hindus have converted into a Shiv temple, and they have given the name Bhandari to Shiv, just like they did in Aksaji's case, the Ashwaghosh Shiv temple. I mean the Ashutosh Shiv temple. Now Bhandari is also a Shiv temple. So you will realize how the Hindus helped the Muslims to wipe out Buddhism. So folks, this is Bhandari. See, it is exact, accurate, just as Zhang says, and the name tallies with the Buddhist story of Anand. So folks, that is that. And this is Jethian. See, this is the, what do you call it, cave in which the first convocation took place. Later on it became a place of worship for, what do you call it, pilgrims to come and view this cave. So you needed a sangrama for the pilgrims to stay and for the monks to stay. So that is Jethian. Jethian describes the first convocation. Jethian means elders. Elders. See, 999 elders were retained. So that is Jethian. And Ajat Shatru fed them in Bhojpur. So folks, this is Bhandari Dham, where Anand got realization and became an Arhat. Check out the pictures of Bhandari Dham. Okay, now folks, this is the road to Bhandari Dham, where Anand became an Arhat. And see, I am standing on Bhandari Dham and pointing towards the first convocation. And folks, this is the temple of Bhandari Dham. It is now a Shiv temple on the stupa, and see, these houses are on top of the stupa, and this lake must have supplied the mud for the stupa. Anyway, according to Buddhist texts, after Anand, see, I am standing with the first convocation behind me in those hills. When Anand he was rejected in the first Buddhist convocation because he was young and not an Arhat yet. So he is dejected and he goes northwest of where the first convocation was to be taking place in a cave. That is that Kalsila cave which I showed you in the other video. And northwest of that, and northwest of Jethian. Jethian means elders. So just behind my vehicle, those houses you see is Jethian. So Jethian means elders, and northwest of Jethian and Kalsila is Bhandari Dham. Now what does Bhandari mean? I'm standing in Bhandari Dham. What does Bhandari mean? Bhandari means a person in charge of the larder, in charge of the food, in charge of the fooding. And Bhandari also means what you call a godown. And Anand was a godown full of knowledge of the Buddha's teachings. Anand was godown. His brain was a godown full of knowledge
of what the Buddha preached. So see, I'm pointing towards Kalsila and Jetian where the first convocation took place, and I'm standing on the place where Anand, after he was rejected, came here and lay down, and in doing so, he got full knowledge, became an Arhat, and then he went back and sort of took an interview from Kashyapa, and he was accepted in, and he took part in the first convocation, and Anand wrote the Sutra Pitaka. He wrote the Sutra Pitaka. See over there in Kalsila. Anand wrote the Sutra Pitaka. Upali corrected the Vinaya Pitaka. He collected the Vinaya Pitaka, and Kashyapa collected the Abhidharma Pitaka. See, in those hills over there is Kalsila cave where the first Buddhist convocation took place, and where I am standing is Bhandari Dham. Anand's name, he was, see, in India we are not allowed to call our elders by their name. We have to call them by their designation. So Anand was the Bhandari of the Sangha, and he was the Bhandari. He had full knowledge. He was a treasure trove of knowledge of the Buddhas. That's why he was called Bhandari, and this is Bhandari Dham, exactly northwest of Kalsila cave and Jetian. So folks, this is the place where Anand became an Arhat. Buddhists will have to claim this. Thank you. I hope you found this video educative, and I hope you liked it. If you did so, don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to my page Buddha Exhumed, and don't forget to tell your friends and relatives about this video and my page Buddha Exhumed.